You need to listen to this podcast on how to make America mediocre for once. And the only person that could pull this off is the most mediocre person I've ever met, John Hicks. What do you call this thing? The retirement solution with you? That's very mediocre. I approve.
Helping you solve the retirement puzzle. Welcome to the Retirement Solution with John Hicks.
Thanks for checking us out here on the Retirement Solution podcast here with John Hicks. I'm Jennifer Perry, and if there's a question you'd like us to address here, you can always drop us an email with your questions for John at retirementsolutionradio.com. That's our website. Again, that's retirementsolutionradio.com. We had the funniest person reach out to us last week on Facebook, John.
Who?
Cletus.
Oh, Cletus takes a little bit of offense to that because it's not the same Cletus. Now, the Cletus that reached out here is from Calvert City. Now, he's one of them city slickers who thinks he knows better. And
because he probably does,
and that's
Cletus.
why I don't like him. Yeah, Cletus, thank you for the shout-out this past week on the Faceybook or the interwebs or the whatever we call them.
Yeah,
it was great. Cletus did get offended, though. He said, I thought I was the only Cletus in your life, John.
Not anymore.
I thought I was the only one.
Not.
And now I find out there's more than one, like a Clinton intern. You find out you're not the only one.
That's weird how that happens, huh? But we'd love for you to search us out on Facebook, too. You can get updates from John throughout the week. There's some fun stuff, too. Just do a search for Retirement Solution Radio with John Hicks when you're on the Facebook this week. But it's interesting. When I'm on the Facebook, the Twitter, searching some of the news headlines.
Facebook, right? It's like the University of Ohio or whatever they say.
Yeah, something like that.
The Ohio State University or the U.
I think the fact I call it that just means I'm a little bit older than their target, but that's okay with me too. But in searching some of the headlines recently, John, we've come across quite a few on the SUCKure Act. And if you listen to this show, you know what we're talking about. We've been talking about it quite a bit, but there's a whole big confusion about exactly what this means for retirement savers. But Congressman Kevin Brady, who was really one of those guys pushing this in the House, tried to explain the thinking behind the new law as they were going through this debate.
Our workforce has changed dramatically over the past few years. Americans are living and working longer, so our bill eliminates the current age limits for making contributions to traditional IRAs, allowing older Americans to continue to save. This bill will also give older Americans more time before they're required to start pulling from their accounts, increasing the age from 70 and a half under current law to instead 72 years of age.
All right, so that's the big change that everyone's talking about, or at least the one that's highlighted the most. But if you dig deeper into this bill, there are some negatives too, John.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a matter of fact, when you look at this bill, the way that it was done, the way that they've passed it, I think that we're enunciating the word wrong. I don't think it's the SUCKure Act. I think it's the SUCKure Act. If you're thinking about having money that you want to give to the next generation. And I'm not even kidding about this. So, and here's what they did. So, guys, listen, there's a couple things about this that are pretty good. So we're allowed to wait until age 72 before the government mandates us to pull money out so they can get some tax revenue. Okay. So they pushed it from 70 and a half to 72. Now, who does this happen to? Well, if you were 70 and a half last year in 2019, so sad, so bad, you have to pull the money out 70 and a half and you got to keep doing it that
bummer.
way.
Okay.
But if you're 70 and a half any year, 2020 and beyond, you get to wait now to 72.
Okay.
So that part's pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, another good thing about it, if you're still working, and many of you guys out there are, not because you have to, because you love it. And some of us out there because we need to as well. But if you're still working past the age of 70 and a half, you can now still contribute money to your accounts, to your traditional IRA or a Roth if you're still earning money. I think that's great too. So those two things are good. And the one last piece of the puzzle, which Jennifer, I don't know, I have mixed emotions on this because most Americans do not have proper pensions. It does allow for annuity companies to have a piece of that puzzle so that you can have a guaranteed income stream. Okay. Now, the reason I say mixed is because I know that some annuities out there are absolute trash and rubbish. And there's one simple reason why. Interest rates stink. And they're going to lock you in at the current low interest rates. And I don't love that because I think that interest rates in the next 15 to 20 years are going to go substantially higher, and I would hate for someone to lock something in low. Now, there are some annuities out there that aren't complete rubbish. Now, you have to look at them for what they are. Are they a bond alternative? Can you get 4 to 6% on the money with no downside risk? and can it send you a guaranteed income stream? Now, those are okay. Depending on if it's a good part of your plan. So a lot of those 401ks are going to allow that. Now, I typically always say, if you're going to ever consider an income stream and it's not a guaranteed pension from the company you're going to retire from, I think that you should always look to do those guaranteed pension arrangements on your own.
Okay.
So that they're not using the entire company's age and workforce and all that kind of stuff and what kind of kickbacks they get. You can do it on yourself. Typically what we find, Jennifer, is that the average American can do substantially better if they're looking for a guaranteed income stream on their own.
Okay,
now,
that's
again,
good to know.
Yeah. So you really want to, if you have a pension buyout, you always want to run the math, find out, is the company giving you the best deal or can you do it better on your own? I would say better than 8 out of 10 people, 80% nearly, close to, can do better on their own. So you just want to figure that out. Now, here's the bad part about the SUCKure Act when it comes down to longevity. Guys, what they did, and this is kind of one of those things, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. What they've done is they said, oh yeah, we're gonna make you wait a whole whopping year and a half before we're gonna suck money out of you. But what they did is they're gonna find a way to suck it right out of those accounts a lot faster than you thought when we're gone. And this is what I alluded to, and we've said this on the show before. Now, Hillary did not win in 2016. She's so ticked off about that, by the way.
Still, yes.
Still ticked off about that. Still just raging mad, John. She's just raging mad. But one of the things that she ran on is the fact that she knew how she was going to solve the huge federal deficit we have for debt. She said, we're going to have an asterisk 67% tax bracket. So when you're gone, all the money in those tax-deferred accounts, like your 401k, 403b, traditional IRAs, it was going to have an asterisk tax bracket if you and your spouse were gone, and it was going to pay 67% before it goes to your kids.
So $1 million, $670,000 out the window.
Goes to the government.
Wow.
Congratulations, you worked your butt off. You scrimped and saved, and you gave things up you could have done, or you could have gifted it to your own kids and grandkids. But instead, in that arrangement, the government on your $1 million would have get $670,000, and your kids would have a whopping $330,000.
Yeah. Wow.
I would have blown it on myself or on my kids or grandkids instead of before I give it to them. And I still mean that. So the whole point is that what they've done now is they force, if you have money in those IRAs, and even if it's a Roth IRA, guys, I had to read this about 20 times. If you have money in a Roth IRA and it goes to someone other than your spouse, they still have to pull that money out over the next decade. They have to pull it out within 10 years.
Okay, they pay tax on that?
That's well, no. If it comes out of the Roth, they don't
still
have to pay
tax-free.
tax.
All right,
But do you see what the government did? The SUCKure Act is going to suck the money back into circulation, so the government can tax it again and again and again.
Let's see what
and
they
again
did there.
and again. It's like an episode of The Twilight Zone or Groundhog's Day, where it just keeps going through circulation. And so we used to do really awesome planning with a Roth. We used to call it the poor man's trust, because in a very cool way, you could put money into it and it could grow without any taxation. And when you pull it out, completely tax-free. And who cares if you're gone? It can go to your great-great-great-grandkids, and they can have it grow their entire lives without taxation.
How cool would
and
that
the government
be? Yeah.
said, wow, think about how many zeros there are on those dollars. Let's go after those. And that's what they did. So the one important thing is that everyone that expects to have money left over by the time they're gone, this is going to affect, especially if it's in a tax-deferred account. So if you have a proper trust in place, guess what? This does not exclude you. You still have to potentially retool that sucker. And how much does that tick you off?
Yeah.
If you have properly designed Roth legacy plans like we've built for years, guess what? Every one of you are affected. You have to now potentially plan for something different. And if you were going to potentially have a good amount of money in that traditional IRA, guys, the bullseye is directly square on us. If we have done what we were supposed to do, which is be responsible and put our money where we can grow it and get a tax break at the time, that's the money they're going to go after first. That's the money they're going to go after. And if they can't get it while we're living, by goodness, they're going to get it when we're gone. So you have to plan through this. There are some very, very slim loopholes still available, but you got to find them out. If you don't do this correctly, I would rather you blow every single dollar and bounce that last check to the undertaker as opposed to giving your kids basically 30% of what you worked your butt off for.
Yeah.
Go have fun with it instead, but get the right plan.
There's no such thing as a dumb question. Well, maybe. Either way, drop us yours at retirementsolutionradio.com.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through John Hicks, Kentucky Insurance License number 998827.